versus paper logs or manually entering it in the Keep Truckin app. But first, you're not gonna wanna miss this. The dray here goes all the way back. It's pretty long, but I cannot seem to get it out. It's just stuck a little bit. I am going to try to beat this thing out from the far side. Let's see if it works. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Let's see what she's got. And well, let's see if a little KY helped out. Damn it. Try this again. Trailer, hitch extension, 1. Sean, 0. Let's see who gets the last laugh. Let's just hope the tow behind unit doesn't hit the edges when we need to make some sharp turns. Stay tuned. Let's find out and talk how ELD is the devil. First, someone had mentioned how is that cooler slash AC unit. To be honest, for about $400 to $500, it was a complete waste of money. Let me explain. When you have to use 4 bags of ice per night that you're using it just for the AC function of it, which does work great in terms of keeping you cool, you start to do the math, that just adds up. There's more efficient ways to keep your rig, your truck cool than spending $10 a night on, 4 bags of ice. Because then at the same point, you have to try to figure out how to keep the food that you're putting in there cool as well. That's where my first trip using it, this will be my 3rd trip, my first trip using it, I couldn't keep the food cold. I ended up putting more ice in it, and it worked to cool me for a little bit, but it didn't last very long. So from there, I froze a bunch of saltwater bottles to help drop the temperature dramatically in there. And then I was also just using ice. So that second trip worked better for cooling my food. But again, once you kick on that AC, it works great while it's working. It's just you always have to keep putting ice in it. And I'm not gonna spend $10 a night in ice, because then at that point, you don't have any ice in the morning to keep your food cool. So great idea, cool concept. I can't guarantee that we're gonna make it to Colorado without those 2 colliding. Let's find out. Of it, I'm going to run out of time on my 11-hour clock before getting in to Wheat Ridge for the night. I believe GPS says there is 33 minutes until the destination, and I only have 25 minutes remaining. Well, when I'm driving slower, it's gonna take me longer than 33 minutes. And I can tell you this right now, I'm not pulling over on some random exit, some side of the road, because at that point, I'll be at the end of 76 before it merges into I-70. So I'll have to pull over, go off duty, personal conveyance, type a note in there, seeking shelter, no parking available. These issues are 100% irrelevant when it comes to the paper logs, or again, manually entering it in Keep Truckin in the app. You may go into violation as you're driving with the app, but you can adjust and fix things as needed. One may say doctor them to be what you need. Another example of why ELDs are the devil, maybe 2 or 3 trips ago, I go to Indiana, I load up, I am on my way back. I had a late start. My clock was already going, and I should have been able to get to Morris, Illinois. traffic in Chicago, as you other drivers know, is horrendous most of the day. Well, I just passed the Gary, Indiana exit. I'm going like 2 to 5 miles an hour, and when you zoom out on the map, it's not looking good. Well, I had about 12 minutes left. I'm trying to figure out, do I literally stop traffic in the 3 to 4 lanes for about 3 seconds so that I'm able to have the app unlock itself from being in drive mode? Because as you know, if you have an ELD, you may stop, but it takes, I don't know, about 3 seconds before you can actually go in and get off of driving. Or do I keep driving, potentially, getting a violation? As luck would have it, I, with a minute left, get to that information travel plaza that's like right at that rock quarry. There's a 7-Eleven on one side, and then over the interstate, there's the food courts or something. But I'm luckily able to get pulled off. I stop right next to the fuel island, click off duty. You have to type in the note if you're going to keep driving, and type my note, all with, I think by the time it was all done, I had 2 minutes left. You don't have those issues when it comes to manually entering them. And if you do, then you're either as honest Abe himself, or you just don't know how to maneuver, massage, doctor, play with the Keep Trucking app to get what you need to get. Sharp turns. Okay, so we made it into Wheat Ridge to the TA. Biggest thing, let me show you with, if you can see it on here. Yeah, we can see that. When you're using the app, you can manipulate, right or wrong, whatever. It's just what people do, okay? You can manipulate anything on here. I'm just going to be frank. I'm not saying I do it, but it's not uncommon to get 900 miles in a given day when you're using common sense driving practices, in the sense of, I feel good, I'm going to drive. I don't feel good, I'm going to rest. And repeat that process. How does that work? Well, you can adjust things on here. That probably also heavily depends on how hands-on your company is with monitoring your logbooks. Obviously, if you do the math, 900 miles in an 11-hour shift, well, may show you are speeding. Whether you drove for more than 11 hours, I don't know. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what to do or not do. But I know that when I was using just the Keep Trucking app, I didn't have all these ups and downs. But anytime that I stop now, it's off duty. Because if it's on duty, it's eating away, I believe, at your 70-hour clock, which is on that first trip why I ran out of time, because I didn't know the odds and ends of maneuvering the app when it's hooked up to the ELD setup. And so I would pull over, do this, do that, and it would just kick into on duty. When it comes to using the ELD, you can maneuver you can edit non-driving events on here. So one trip, I forgot to put it on off duty on a Wednesday. I get back in Thursday morning and I see that it has been on duty for like 19 hours, and I click over here where it shows you, how much time you have left, and everything was zeros. I was like, holy shit, does this mean I can't technically drive? What? Well, I start playing around with it, and then I was able to switch that entry to off duty, which then reset my shift, reset my drive time, and adjusted the 70-hour cycle. So you can edit those things, but that's it. Once you start driving for the day, whether accident or not, that's all she wrote. You're a ticking time bomb. Another great example. I've had quite a few violations, most innocent. I stayed over the second, third, fourth trip with the ELD. Stayed over in Gary, Indiana, and mistimed the time difference. So I was Central Time there, but this was on, Eastern Time, set to your company's home time or whatever. Well, I miscalculated it, and I was essentially off by an hour. So I get up, go over to the fuel island. I put a little bit of fuel in there. I was on duty on that at that point. And I take off, I start driving. I wanted to look at something as I was almost through Chicago, and I see that I'm in violation. I have zero everything left. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I get out of Chicago, the first rest station, I pull over, and I just start looking at it like, what in the world happened? Like, where did I screw up at? And then I do the math in terms of just the different time zones, and I'm like, I set my alarm an hour early, and so I was getting up thinking everything was good. I was good to go, normal morning routine. Nope, wasn't the case. It was on a Wednesday. I wasn't about to not make it home to pick up my oldest from middle school. So I call compliance, I tell them what's going on, and she's like, well, we like to have everything match what's truly happening, and so the answer that I have for you, you're not gonna like, because what would it be? It would be, you have to do a 10-hour reset for the stupid little technicality of mistiming things. Needless to say, I picked up my daughter from middle school. What's that song by Chameleonaire? Riding dirty. It is what it is, though. Compliance was like, just try not to get pulled over. No shit. Anyways, those are the biggest differences. Is I don't know if I've ever done this, and my logbooks would never show it, but if you dispatch on something on Monday, but you don't pick it up till Tuesday or so, you can, I think people use this term called push it back. You can push things back. From what I was learned at some point at the beginning of my journey was, as long as you don't hit the old, well, it's not popping up here, the old save button, and you don't sign for that day, nobody can see what is going on. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I can't tell you where I heard that from. Probably wouldn't be good. But I heard it from a very trustworthy, we'll say, person that has a lot of experience, that deals with a lot of new drivers. That's it. That's the difference between ELD and paper logs or manually entering it, is the freedom of, we'll just say, fixing blemishes innocently, or the freedom to say, I can use common sense driving practices, and my company is pretty laid back when it comes to logbooks, versus ELD. That's it. That's all I got for you. I hope you stick around for the next 5 seconds to see if we make it out of this jungle alive with no damages to the trailers, and then get through the turn into the entry, the driveway of Cousin's RV to drop without the units pinching. Stay tuned, because it's about to happen in a few seconds. Okay, so we are unloaded, no damage between the units, and to show you how that happened, we're gonna need to take a step back in time. Got it for the win. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you enjoyed learning about what I hate about ELD, finding some humor in random shit that always comes up. And if you haven't, come on, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like it, share it, and I will see you in the next video.